Responding to the committee's query on how the broadcaster plans to improve its adverse audit report, the NBC's Director General, Stanley Similo, pointed out its historical background, stating that the broadcaster's audit issues were only addressed as from 2010, further outlining to the committee efforts the broadcaster has made to improve its audit issues.
In terms of where we are today, there has been considerable improvement because if we take into account when I joined in October 2015, we were then dealing with audits relating to financial years 2011, 2012, and I think up to about 2014, if I'm not mistaken. I'm speaking under correction here, and the Office of the Auditor General can also attest to that. So, if we look at where we are standing today, to come back to the question that the chairperson was asking, I can say that there has been movement towards normalizing the organization for a couple of reasons. One, the issue around compliance in submitting audit reports have been met. But yes, we agree that the audits were not reading the way they should. But that should also be seen in context, because even then, when I came, we were still struggling to find relevant documentation that would assist us in finalizing all these audits. And with my arrival, I think I did about 3 or 4 or 5 of financial years that had to be submitted. And as we stand now, we're about to submit 2019, 2020, which we had put on hold because there were 3 reporting standards that we had to infuse. And with the agreement of the Office of the Auditor General, by the end of this financial year, we will be able to submit 2020, 2021.
The committee further acknowledged the reduction in subsidy from the government to the NBC, however advising the broadcaster to operate within its means.
You said we have to consider the historical background.
Yes,
I know and understand that we started as a very small institution, but it is basically that why these things are coming up is that from the beginning, day one, the Establishing Act requires that the financials has to be done in a correct way. We cannot say because there is not a traffic officer, you have to drive on the right-hand side of the road while the rule says keep left. That is a basic rule, and that is what we are seeking.
The one thing. The other one, I want to ask you, also on that 2017, 18, 19, I want to know, if you have a budget, say of 400 million, and you only get 300 million, are you then continue to spend as if you have the 400 million? Or do you cut wherever possible to come down to 300 million? I want to know, what was your allocation? What money did you get in that financial year, 2017-18? What money did you get? What was your budget? Why didn't you cut? I want to know, because this is a serious thing that there's no, it seems to me, the thing is just going on.
So by the time I came in, I took over from where the previous Director General left to try and get these audits to be in place. And that should be seen as something, at least, that someone was trying to do something. So that process has continued up to where we are now. And I'm saying again, from a compliance perspective, you need to recognize that as I was speaking now, by the end of this financial year, we would be submitting audits for this financial year as well. And that shows the commitment towards fixing a couple of things in between. One, it's the compliance issue. Two, making sure that we stay within the law. Three, there's a couple of great things that have been happening. Audits have been coming down as issues. So for us now to go back and reflect on what it was before 2010 will not do any justice to me or to yourself, also given that you're very much aware as to what the process was at the time.
The NBC has 6 revenue streams, which include advertising, TV license fees, broadcasting infrastructure revenue, revenue from other incomes such as SMS competitions and productions. These streams during the 2020-2021 financial year raked in over 1 million Namibia dollars in revenue for the NBC.